Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Rockstar Chronicles Series 1, my new book featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. Well, you know him as the legendary violinist, vocalist, and frontman for the band Kansas, recording 9 albums, which reached gold, platinum, and double platinum status, and is now making another mark on the world with his first and only solo album. The new album, Not in Kansas Anymore, is a powerful, well thought out offering of prog rock magic, timely songs with incredible arrangements and virtuoso performances. Robby's vocals and signature electric violin come through on this continuous work labeled a Prog Opera. The album, produced by our guest today, Michael Franklin, in his latest production since the highly acclaimed Jon Anderson 1000 Hands, Chapter 1. Franklin used a similar approach, using a large cast of renowned musicians to lend their talents. Jon Anderson of Jethro Tull, Steve Morse of Deep Purple, Billy Cobham of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, Bobby Kimball, of course, of Toto, Chuck Leavell of the Rolling Stones, Liberty Devitto, Patrick Moraz, many, many others, including Orchestra and Choir. Steinhardt was in a reborn state of mind in the months prior to his finishing the record. He and his wife, Cindy, were looking forward to a new chapter in their lives. He had started rehearsals and was preparing to hit the road in August when he became ill in May. Robby's musical vision, voice, and violin lives on with his first and only solo recording album, Not in Kansas Anymore. Release was delayed due to Steinhardt's passing in July 17th of 2021. Please welcome Grammy-nominated musician, producer, and inventor of many original solar designs, Michael Franklin, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Michael.
Hey there, Ray.
What a shock, man, you know?
Yes, it was pretty... You know, the day that it happened, he had just come back from here in the final mixes.
Mm-hmm.
I have a photo that Cindy had taken of the two of us sitting in front of the screen.
Right.
Like it looked like what science fiction 2000, 3000 or whatever it was. We were just both there sitting there listening to it, and he was totally happy. It was like, okay, great, we're ready to go. I'm going to put the whole thing together, and we're off to the races. And we're going to have everything done and release the album on his birthday, which was 25th of May. And he got sick like the week before. So just out of respect, I just called the whole thing off, and he got really bad. Mm-hmm. And then they basically told me one night that they were pulling the plug on him.
Wow.
But what happened was, when they did that, he came back to life.
Huh.
Again, the Phoenix, after his last bout, he was down and out. They counted him out. He came back. He was with us for another month.
Really?
More than a month. Huh. And I talked to him on the phone. He got out of bed. He stood up. I got a couple photographs I'll never share, but basically he sort of gave me the finger, when he was in the hospital bed.
Right.
And I still got a couple of, hey, man, love you, man, kind of voice recordings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought, hey, man, he's going to pull through it. He's going to pull through it. We had just begun rehearsing, and we had I already had put the whole show together. We were, it was going to be great. And I thought, this is really a great way to have pulled him out of the whole thing. When I first met him, I wasn't sure I was going to get along with the guy, and we became like great close friends in 2 years' time. Just amazing.
Yeah, I remember last year, last time me and you talked, you started working on the album with him, and you were talking about it, and you're really excited. And we were both, you and him were both going to get on my show together, and we were going to talk about the album, and I was really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I contacted him through a couple people, Ronnie D, the son of Joey D, the Peppermint Twist guy.
I just had Joey D on the show not long ago.
Yeah. Joey's one of my favorite guys, and almost like
family.
Ronnie D is like my little brother, who's grown into be such a great superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I reached out to Robby. Robby reached out to a guy there named Rick Moon who played in a band with Robby.
Right.
And I tried to get Robby to come in and play on the Jon album. And it took a little while to get through it. And when he came in, I wasn't really sure it was going to work because he was kind of, he wasn't really seemed like a happy guy at first. But he was just very, very closed. And after he played on the Jon record, and as soon as he got in there playing on it, it was like, all right, here's the lines I envisioned, but come on, man, give me who you are. And I sent him the music prior, and then he started playing. Next thing you know, it started sounding like Kansas. He doubled the violins,
Sure.
He put this harmony in. And unfortunately, that song had been kind of edited. It was a very long piece, and Jon edited it down from the original 15 minutes, a short song for him, down to like 9 minutes, So some of Robby's stuff fell by the wayside, but a lot of it's still there. But he came out of his shell. And then afterwards, when I'd asked him to play on the tune that Billy Cobham played on, he was all excited about it. And he came in there and he played the lines. And that is how Not in Kansas Anymore started. It was from that. He'd come back over every 2 weeks. We'd have a barbecue or some drinks, or we would go over there, and we became good friends. And then I was like, hey, man, I got an idea for an album for you. Yeah, then it all worked from there. Between him and my brother and me and his wife, Cindy, started putting some ideas together, and it worked.
You're great at doing that because what I understand, 1,000 Hands was in Jon Anderson's garage, right?
Yeah, that album there, there's a songwriter, keyboard player, Brian Chatton, who used to play with, he was in Jon's first band called the Warriors.
Okay.
And I was doing a keyboard clinic over in England. At the time I was playing for Korg.
Right.
And I did, me and Rick Wakeman did a show together. And at Ronnie Scott's in London.
Yep.
So it was me playing my thing and Rick doing his thing, and I played the Six Wives of Henry VIII with Rick. And my brother came along on that tour. And to open up for us was a guy named Brian Chatton, who had been in I think Brian was in the Hollies, and Brian was in a couple different bands. He's a good keyboard player, singer. And he had written those songs for Jon. And Brian asked me at one time, would you orchestrate some of it? So I did. I took 4 of the songs. It was in the middle 90s, and I orchestrated them. But then nothing happened to it. Just like it fell down by the wayside. I flew out. I met Jon at his house when he was living in Pacific Palisades, and we talked about doing the album. And it was like, okay, sounds good. This is what I'll do. And then nothing. So I was playing with Iron Butterfly at the Bakersfield Music Festival in Bakersfield. And I realized I'm like only not too far away from where Jon lives. So I called him up and said, hey, my wife is Chinese. And I lived in China for 15 years.
Right.
That's one of the things I brought back. So my wife had never seen California. So I said, okay, look, we're going to go up and down the coast. And that's where Jon lives. So I gave Jon a call and said, hey, look, let's get together. We got together. I talked to him about doing the album, and he sort of forgot all about it. And then I said, send me the tapes. And so he sent me the tapes. I had the tapes baked, and I was just wondering how good all the stuff is going to be. And some of it lasted the test of time through the baking, but some of it was, I had to replace everything. And my intention was I was going to replace all the synthesizers anyway, because they were dated. You could, that was a M1. That was a DX7. You don't want that. So I started putting real instruments on it. That's what I would do. And then I, call up Ian Anderson. Hey, Ian, do you know a good flute player? And it's a joke, man. Ian, do you know a good flute player? All right. So that's how it started out. Larry Coryell, who I was just producing at the time, he was like the first person. He played guitar on it.
Right.
And then Ian played flute on it. And then it just started happening. And from being the music director for Wolfman Jack for years on TV.
I loved Wolfman.
I had a Rolodex from hell.
Yeah.
So I just started being like a casting director. And who would be a great violinist?
Right.
Hey, Robby Steinhardt lives around here. I don't know him, but that was the introduction. So
I think it's amazing though, when you get an album or tape or whatever from Jon Anderson, and then you introduce all these players on the tape that's already been recorded. It's the same, I guess, with the Robby Steinhardt album. How do you do that? I mean, like you say, you bring in Ian Anderson. You've got a master tape from somewhere, and then you add these guys on. I don't understand how that procedure works.
For the Jon album, Jon's was 24-inch tapes, which I had to send off to a place to bake them and digitize them and send them back in a Pro Tools session so I could put it up there and just see what I had.
Okay.
Then when it was all up there, and then I sort of organized it to see what's worth keeping, what has to be played. I mean, there's some crisp bass parts that didn't quite make the track as far as the fidelity. Mm-hmm. So my brother had to go in and play over some of the crisp bass parts. Now, a lot of the crisp bass parts were perfect. Yeah. But some of them that were there were, I can hear it. Tim had to go in and reproduce it. And some of the keyboard stuff was really good. And some of it didn't make it through the degradation of the tape. So some things had to be recreated. And some of the things I didn't recreate, I said, here's something that sounds a little bit better or fits the song a little bit more. And then, Jon's the final, whatever I did, I sent it to him. And if he liked it, we might go, I like it, let's go this way, or I like it, let's go that way. So a lot of back and forth. And but for the majority, chapter 1, the first one was most everything I did sort of got accepted. He would sing over something or maybe add a part or say, hey, cut that part out and we'll do this. And it all went so good. It was just an amazing process.
But to accomplish that sound too, a decent sound out of all that,
some of it is. I got to say, I got a great engineer.
Okay,
I really do think we have a great studio. We got a great sound, but the engineer is good, and the production ideas are good, either from me or the musician. My musician team. I have a great set of studio musicians.
Yeah,
some fantastic people, and when you get a fantastic guitar player like Tommy Calton and come in, and you've got like a basic little part, and then before Tommy's done listening to it the third time, he comes up with a great guitar part, and you go, that one, I like that. And then you I'm not like a kind of producer that says it's my way or the highway.
Right.
The musicians a lot of time dictate to me where it's going to go. It's like,
gotcha.
That's beautiful, man. Let's use that.
The finished product, what kind of tape is that on? Or is it on, it's not on like an MP3 or MP4 or anything like that, right? Is it on like a master tape?
Oh, no, that was on Ampex,
Ampex.
2-inch.
Reel?
Reel to reel.
Oh, reel to reel. Okay. Like the old fashioned days.
Yeah. Majority of the tunes were, I'll say half the album was on that. A lot of the other tunes, like from the Jon album, like Ramalama and Where Does Music Come From, were all sort of digital based from the beginning.
Right.
Jon tells the true story of he sent me, which was Where the Music Come From, in a vocal thing, and I just had the streams, and I was on a plane going to Vietnam, and I got the streams when I got to the lounge in Orlando, and I downloaded them into my computer, and then I got on the plane, and I was flying to Hong Kong first, and by the time I landed in Hong Kong, I already had the song all done. It was almost, Where Does Music Come From is almost exactly like I did it on the plane. Except I switched out, the drummers, and Jocelyn played the violin, and, but majority of it was Jon's voice and me doing stuff on the plane.
Right.
Then I got in the studio and I cleaned it all up and it became the song.
How long did 1,000 Hands take to put it all together?
It took a little bit longer than I thought because I really did want the musicians to be in the studio. Let's say, for instance, I delayed a couple things because Tower of Power was, supposed to be coming and they were going to be here next month. So I didn't do that song until a month later. So the whole thing took about 2 years to do. I was working on 3 other things at the same time. So it's okay. I wanted to have those people play on it. That was the idea of 1,000 Hands,
Well, I want to talk about Not in Kansas Anymore. I gave it 5 stars. I love the album. It was very, very good, very perfectly put together. Some of my favorite tracks, I think, Rise of the Phoenix, very cool track, man. And you said Billy played on that one, right?
Yep. First take. Hearing the song first time. Yeah, man.
That's what pros do.
Yeah.
Dust in the Wind. I had Chuck on the show not long ago. Loved Chuck Leavell, man. He's such a nice guy. The Tree Man, you know.
I go way back with Chuck. Way back with Chuck.
Yeah.
I mean, like 1982, Chuck and I were both clinicians for Korg synthesizers.
Oh, cool.
And we got to like a symposium, and we were the last people to get there, so the two of us had to share a room.
Right.
Businessman's Hotel.
Huh.
That's how I got to know Chuck. And then he played on my first jazz album. And when he came when he came to China, both times I showed the Stones around China. I mean, he took his wife out and we went antique shopping and the whole bit. And Lisa Fisher I'd known since she was in the Crystals when I was with Wolfman Jack.
Wow.
So I've known her all the time she was in the Stones, and Chuck the whole time.
Yeah, that was a surprise to have Lisa sing on Dust in the Wind. I liked it. It was great.
I'll tell you how that happened. First off, it happened because I played Dust in the Wind on the piano. I didn't want it to be Dust in the Wind. I used to make a joke with Robby. I said, Dust in the Wind is two guitars and a bongo, And, I mean, he took it in stride, because it was, that's his song. And I said, that's your signature song, and it's got to be done well and respectful, and it's got to be this great big thing, And so that's how I wrote Prelude, and then he sort of got it, and it was like, but I play piano on it. He goes, man, people are going to bash your head in for playing the piano instead of the guitar part. And I said, I know they will. That's why I'm not playing it. So he said, well, who's going to play the piano part? I said, Chuck Leavell. All right. And Chuck did such a great job on it. Nobody's going to complain about Chuck. Who's playing piano on that song?
Exactly.
Chuck, I'll shut up. And he did a great job on it. Yeah. And I went to my very good friend, Liberty Devitto, who is one of the best song drummers of all time. And Liberty played on it, and he made it exactly what I thought it should be. Plus it's orchestrated, and guitar players from hell. So it's all good.
It's all good. You're right. Truth to Power. It's got some Kansas messages there. A lot of Kansas messages are kind of Christianity messages. I guess Robby's singing on that, right?
Yeah, Robby's singing. Yeah. That's going to be the first video, which will be out soon.
Right.
There are going to be about 5 videos going to accompany this thing, but
good.
We want to space them out. But Truth to Power, that's Robby singing, and that was a fun tune to put together, and that's going to be like the first, I want to say, like single, if you want to say something. The first one's coming out with a video.
Okay. Also, Mother Earth. That's going to be a video, right?
Mother Earth's a video. I hope to put that on Earth Day. Good.
I love that. Is there nothing more we can do? I like that line. And Patrick's on that, right? That's a Patrick Moraz thing.
Patrick's a dear friend of mine, and I visit him occasionally. He emails me or text messages me at least once a week. About different stuff. I'm very close to Patrick. I put together his Windows of Time album. I produced that, and and also too, we're the only band to go out and play the Story of I show, which I do have the only video in existence of. I might try to redigitize that.
Good,
and it's perfect.
That's his best one, I think. Yeah. I've had Patrick on several times. We're all Floridians, Patrick, Joey D lives in Clearwater, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Awesome. You know who just bought a house near me is Mick Jagger. He for his in Lakewood Ranch for his girlfriend. I think he's going to end up here. I think he's going to retire here.
Well, I mean, come on, face it. Like the weather this couple of weeks has been like
beautiful.
Wow, who wants to live anyplace else?
Yeah,
True. But yeah, I do like it. There's a lot of artists around here. A lot of friends and musicians here. Like Pat Travers is a close friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Les Dudek. Yep. Is one of my sushi buddies.
Les is cool.
Les is a cool guy. Yeah. And there's a lot of musicians around here that Rick Derringer is a close friend of mine.
Yep. He lives close to me. Yeah. I'm in Bradenton, so he lives close to me. Yeah.
Oh, not anymore. He lives on the other coast now.
Oh, he moved. I didn't know that.
He moved. I was at his new house about 2 weeks ago.
Huh.
And he's a great guy. And I did a rock festival with him up in New York about 2 months ago.
Right.
Me and the band, and man, he's one of the best guitar players on earth. That guy, really.
Yeah, we got Rick Wills lives close by. A lot of guys live around here. Yeah, it's like you said, you can't beat the weather.
Brian Johnson.
Johnson.
I hung with Brian a couple, many times at his house, and what a great guy.
Eventually, they're all going to be here.
Well, as long as there's no state tax, why not?
Exactly. Well, some other tracks that I loved, of course, Rise of the Phoenix, I think is probably one of my favorite tunes on the album. Then you have the Phoenix with Robby's signature violin. The more you listen to this album, the more you hear how important Robby was to Kansas. I mean, he was the signature sound of Kansas. Without the violin, there would be no Kansas.
It's strange. I've got a lot of it was when I was putting the whole thing together. That was the thing, is to have the violin enough, and also have his vocal in there enough. I mean, to me, Kansas was the classic great harmony hook.
Yep.
Carry On My Wayward Sons, the violin, and Robby's voice in the rock kind of parts. But like Truth to Power, Mother Earth, even Downtown Royalty. He's got such a pure, sweet voice.
He does.
It's very believable.
Pizzicato. That's Ian's on that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pizzicato, like instead of pizzicato, it's pizzicato.
Right.
And the slice for baby boy Flynn, I don't know if anybody gets that, but Robby was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was like left on the doorstep of a fire department, with a note, baby boy Flynn.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, some story, huh?
And he was adopted by two musicians.
Right.
And so the idea of, he came to me and he said, look, I want to write a pizzicato piece.
Mm-hmm.
My brother wrote one, and I wrote one. Mine won. Anyway, so, but I didn't want it to be like, so I wrote like a fugue.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robby put his part in. And then I did like Charlie DeShant is another great musician here from Orlando. Do you know Charlie?
No, I don't know Charlie.
Well, Charlie's a magnificent musician. He plays he's played with the Stones. He's played with Hall & Oates forever. Right. And Charlie did, like, I want to say, my placekeeper for Ian. He played recorders on Dust in the Wind and Pizzicato and flute. Mm-hmm. And then I sent it to Ian, and Ian did his thing to it. At first I thought Ian wasn't going to play on it because he had some kind of, I think some kind of people were sick in his family or something. He didn't think he'd be able to make the timeline. Huh. And then I'm thinking, oh, great. And then all of a sudden one day in my mailbox, there it was. It was like, great. And he loved Robby. Robby played on that tribute to Jethro Tull. And so he was happy to play on it. It was great.
Yeah, the track sounds very Jethro Tull and kind of Celtic, I guess. It would have been a great track for Game of Thrones, a good song on Game of Thrones. I loved it. You know what was a very strange track was Tuk Tuk.
Well, Tuk Tuk, Tuk Tuk is here's the secret of Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk is actually, the thing from the Wizard of Oz,
Right.
Song from the Wizard of Oz. And what happened is I went in and I sang it as a round just on my laptop.
Okay.
So I went into the studio and I sang it, and I said that I told my engineer, he came in, he had this new plugin called Altar Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And he put the Altar Boy on it, and it made me sound like the Munchkins. And I said, that's it. That's it. And no, that's it. That's really it. So we used it, and I just thought it was so funny, especially at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Humor's good.
Humor is good. Now, you not in Kansas anymore. Did you write? You wrote that, right?
My brother and I wrote that.
Okay. Yeah. Great track. Loved it. And that's the one with the Munchkins in the beginning, and then at the end, Over the Rainbow.
Right.
Yeah. That was very clever, by the way.
I thought that the Weedheads would like that. The
Weedheads.
If anybody had the right to say, "I'm not in Kansas anymore," it had to be Mr. Steinhardt.
Oh, definitely.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead. Bobby Kimball, who's a friend of mine, Bobby sang on. In fact, where you're down in Fort Myers?
And Bradenton.
Oh, you're in Bradenton.
Bradenton.
Bobby was down doing a show for a friend of mine in Fort Myers.
Right.
And he had called me on the phone and says, "Hey, man, I'm going to be in Florida." He was like, Fort Myers is like 1 mile from Orlando in his mind. And he said, "I'm going to be in Fort Myers." And I said, "Okay, look, I got this track I want you to sing on." And so I contacted a studio down in Fort Myers called The Fort.
Okay.
Some young guys got a studio down there, and I reserved some time. I just needed a vocal track from Bobby to sing some backup, and I went down and spent the afternoon with Bobby, and we went in and cut some lines that he could sing, and whatever. It was just for him to be involved in it. And he said, I did an album called Not in Kansas Anymore. I said, "Yeah, Bobby, you did."
He did. That's right.
Did.
As a matter of fact, I interviewed Bobby when he released that album. I heard Bobby's not doing very well.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to kick a guy when he's down, but he's having some difficulty, and I love Bobby to death. I had him here in the studio to sing on John's Chapter 1. Yeah, that track won't be out until Chapter 2.
Yep.
And he wasn't doing that well then, but I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's still got a great voice, but he's having some hearing problems. He's having some mental issues to do with age, but God bless him. And we should all appreciate all the great work that he's done.
Oh, he's great, man. I love his vocals, with Toto. Nobody can sing like he can.
I got a couple of tracks that I did with him about 20 years ago that haven't been released.
Really?
Yeah, I got an album that I did for a really great songwriter, Don Oriolo, who is the Felix the Cat. His dad was the guy who did Felix the Cat.
Yeah.
And Don has done Felix the Cat ever since. That's how I got involved going over to Ages. I was doing the music for Felix the Cat and Hello Kitty with Don.
Right.
Don writes songs like They're Going Out of Style, and he wrote a whole album about cats. And a bunch of people played on it. Edgar Winter did a track. Les Dudek did a great track. And Bobby did a track called 9 Lives. And it's awesome. It's never been released. I'm going to release it this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did you say something about the Jon Anderson album number 2? Were you you're going to do Chapter 2? Really?
I've got so many songs. I think we could do more than Chapter 2. It's just that between John and me and other writers that come to the party,
right,
a lot of material. It's just
incredible.
What's the best material to do? I've got some. I would say we're a couple months away from completing Chapter 2.
Wow.
But maybe not. It all depends. Got some great players: Bruce Hornsby, Todd Rundgren.
Yep.
Rick Wakeman,
fantastic, fantastic.
Brian Auger.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of different people on Chapter 2. It's just what tracks finally end up on it, and that's all
Yeah.
up to Jon, and he's writing all the time, and he sends me stuff, and he's, does some writing with me, Tommy Calton, and a couple other friends that he has, and he's doing his, keeping up his art every day,
Right.
And so I get stuff. Michael will work on this. Like, we just did a new Christmas song that was released, and that happened in a couple weeks, and it's beautiful. Tommy wrote it, and then Jon put vocals on it, and Tim put like a 200-year-old string bass on it, and I put some orchestral tinsel on it, and mixed it, and beautiful.
Awesome. A lot of rock artists are doing Christmas songs now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that I did a Christmas album a couple years ago with Gloria Gaynor. The lady I Will Survive.
Yeah.
And Don, the songwriter I'm talking about, he produced her and brought it to me, and so I put that album together for him. And there's some fantastic stuff on there. When you get, if it's like tongue-in-cheek joke stuff, like you're doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but if you do some really serious Christmas kind of stuff, that kind of music can be very solemn.
Sure.
Really bring out the best in musicians.
And if you get a hit with it, you're a millionaire. It's
the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. I just had Mel Torme's son on the show recently, and he put out a Christmas track as well. He's hoping it'll do really well. Yeah. The one sad track on the album, "A Prayer for Peace," is kind of like Robbie's swan song. It's kind of it's him saying goodbye almost in a way.
Well, the story about that is me and Robbie had an inside joke. I made him smile. I have a very strange sense of humor, and he has a strange sense of humor, and I would make him smile. So that song is actually the song "Smile" by Charlie Chaplin.
Really?
That I've reharmonized so that it's not
very
smile.
Clever.
I reharmonized the chords to it. Anyway, just because of that, one night I was sitting down and I started working on "Smile," and then I changed it to what it was. And basically it's the same thing like 4 times, but I changed the chords and the orchestration, and I wrote it out. He came in and he just read it down and played it, and it was like perfect. And that's all it was, and that's the last time he played the violin.
Really? Wow.
After it was over, he looked at me, he goes, "What's for dinner?" And then he packed the stuff up, and his violins are still here.
Oh, his violins are still there, huh?
Yeah, the blonde and the brunette are still here. Got 2 violins in a case.
Yeah.
One's blonde and one's darker brown, and he would always have both of them tuned, and one went on a tune. He picked up the other one.
Yeah.
And so he started out that thing by himself, and it went all up into the sky with Jim Gentry playing this beautiful guitar solo and the orchestration. And then at the very end, I took him out of the effects and everything and put him down just to being just dry as a bone, just him alone in the room for the very last note. And that was it.
Wow. Man, what a story. Yeah, he's definitely going to be missed. He was an incredible violinist, and I
never had such a fast friend.
Yeah,
I never had somebody that he was a reluctant debutante. You had to pry stuff out of Robbie.
Really,
and he would say something, you go, "What? Oh yeah, I was partying with Freddie Mercury," and what? And then you see these all the stuff that he did in his career, because they were very hot. They were everywhere. They were on TV. They were touring the world. They were doing whatever. He got the chance to meet all these people, and he was just himself. He was a little crazy back then. People liked him. The audience liked him as the MC, right? And so he opened up, and we were talking about him writing a book.
Yeah.
And I said, "Man, you got to sit down and say some of this stuff." And when he first met me, he was sort of apprehensive because, we'd be talking about stuff, and I'd worked with all these people. And I will not back down from the idea that I've worked with all these people.
Sure.
So you name somebody, and I probably worked with them, and I feel proud about that.
Sure, you should be.
Would say, oh, Michael's not, and my brother would come in and corroborate everything I said.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, you work? Yeah, sure, man. I worked with that guy. Yeah, I did this with him and that. So it was like, he only worked with like one band his whole life, and he was very proud that, man, you worked with all those people.
Yeah. Have you ever? Do you know who Leslie Mandoki is?
No.
The Mandoki Soulmates. The Soulmates. No. You should hook up. Ian's part of that. Ian Anderson. Bobby Kimball was part of that. He lives in Germany, and he's got a great story. He was in jail like 20 times or something like that, escaping communism because he was on the good side, and they always kept putting him in jail, and he kept playing his music against fascism and all that stuff. But he's got an orchestra and he brings in all these rock all-stars in this orchestra. He just has a new album out with all these guys on it, and sounds a lot like what you do. He puts all these guys together on these albums, and interesting guy. I just had him on the show, had him on a couple of times. He's really good friends with Ian Anderson. If you want to look him up, Mandoki Soulmates.
Yeah, maybe send me so I get the right one.
Okay, I'll send you the link.
Send it to me. Ian is a pretty interesting guy. He suffers no fools.
Yeah.
He's a very, very intelligent guy.
Yes, he is. He is.
I got him set up with a friend of mine who does a PBS show, and so when he came to town the last time, I got the PBS to go over and do an interview with him, and my brother and I sat there during the interview. And some of the stuff that he said, he's very, very serious.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You got to take the credit, say, recognize that the guy's really serious.
He is.
And the issues that are important to him really are important issues. And he's serious about it. And so
I've interviewed Ian a couple of times.
Yeah.
I could say he's one of my heroes. Growing up, I followed Tull from the very, very beginning. And I've interviewed literally thousands of guys. But the only guy that I'm, a little nervous about interviewing is Ian Anderson, because you got to be on your A game. Like you said, he's very intelligent. He knows a lot. And when I interviewed him the last time, we didn't talk about music too much. It was kind of religion and politics.
In that last interview, he was talking to Bill Schaefer from PBS, and he said something about his wife was giving him a hard time because they found out that he had 2% Neanderthal blood. His DNA was 2% Neanderthal.
That's funny.
He said, well, no, I had to laugh because when hers came back, she had 4%.
That's great.
I thought that was, I use that all the time. I thought that was so hilarious. Never thought about that. In us now, there's actually some people have Neanderthal DNA. It's just hard to imagine.
It is. Neanderthal. That's funny.
Maybe it's not too hard to imagine. I know some people probably got 10%.
It makes sense. It does make sense. I asked him about his family genealogy, and I thought maybe he's got to be related to a king or a queen or a minstrel in the gallery or something like that. He said he's probably mostly Viking blood, that when he goes far back. But he has a copy of the Quran and the Bible in his phone. He told me. He's
definitely an interesting guy, and really one of the class acts of rock.
Exactly. Sure. Exactly. China. You still visiting China from time to time?
Yeah, I'm actually, funny you asked that, because I just got off the phone this morning with, I'm attempting to do something. I hope it all works out, COVID dependent, but when I lived in China for 14 years.
Long time.
And I would go back and forth to China in the United States, producing music here, going to do my stuff in China, the cartoons, and you talked about the solar. I invented the solar charger for iPhone and iPad.
Thank you, by the way.
And which turned out to other things that I have. Solar Studios is Solar Studios because it's totally solar powered, buy solar panels for my own company.
Really?
In China. I have
all the electronics are solar powered?
Everything here is solar powered.
Really?
I have an electric car. Yeah, I got 16,000 watts of solar on my house, and my brother's got a couple thousand also.
Fantastic.
And that's why it's Solar Studios. A lot of it because of some of the, I want to say, the gains I got from doing solar in China. In fact, Rick Derringer is bringing over his RV over here. I'm going to put some solar on his RV.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to make it solar RV.
That's pretty cool.
But, the life in China was great. And I got to tour all around China playing with some big Chinese artists. I just produced a Chinese artist, which a great album is going to come out on my label in about 2 or 3 months, a girl called Fei Peng.
Okay.
Really good. Sort of like Joni Mitchell, Melissa Etheridge, but 30% English. Rest of it's Chinese for the China market.
Okay.
And but it's all 1,000 hands, guys.
Yeah.
Playing on it. Not as complicated, but sort of like, I want to say like 70s Joni Mitchell kind of stuff.
Okay.
But China was good to me.
I've been listening to some Chinese prog, which is very rare. A band called Cold Farrellin and excellent. Elephant Jim was another band.
Well, are you familiar with the band The Who? Not The Who, but The Who.
HU? Is it HU? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so during my many adventures in China, I would have to venture up to, the true story is the companies that were working with me had to pay me a certain amount a month every month for a visa refreshment. In China, you can only stay for 30 days. Okay. So I had to leave the country every 30 days. So I charged them $1,000 a month to get out of China to get my visa stamped.
Okay.
So one of my destinations became Mongolia.
Wow.
Because I could fly from Beijing to Mongolia in 2.5 hours, go and stay there for a couple of days, get my visa stamped to come back to China, refresh my visa. So while I was up there, I did some solar business and met some people, president, ambassador, parliament members, and would stop in at the local bar and play with the band who couldn't play. I teach them Stand By Me, and just solo over it and sing 27 songs over the ice cream changes. And they would sound great. So I became like a one-name guy there, Mike Ke. And same in China, playing with the big Chinese artists. And now the Mongolian government asked me to come over there to produce a festival for them this year. We're going to do hopefully, the first Mongolian International Music Festival.
Oh, cool.
In Ulaanbaatar in July 2022. So I'm on my way over there after Chinese New Year, after February 6th or 7th. I'll be on my way over to Mongolia for a week or so to try to put that together and some other things.
Are these all going to be Chinese artists in the festival?
No, I intend to film it.
Okay.
I intend to bring over about 3 or 4 Western artists.
Okay.
Mixed along with the Chinese, mostly Mongolian artists. There's so many great Mongolian bands. I'm producing a band, the National Folk Group of Mongolia, called Jonon, Jonon.
Right.
I'm producing their album right now, and John sang on a song.
Oh, good.
And hopefully, I'm trying to get one of the Jonon records, doing a song on John's record, because it's so cool.
Cool.
We don't know yet, But so I've invested really into Mongolian. All my album covers are all done by a Mongolian artist.
Well, I'm really into world music, and I do from time to time invite artists on the show from other countries. Lately, it's been Germany, but it's hard to get somebody from China. You get a hold of them, and hook.
Well, a Fei Peng speaks perfect English.
Okay,
and she's a fantastic singer.
All right.
Yeah, and actually, she married an American, and she's in the United States occasionally. I guess they live in St. Louis.
All right.
I had her here, last year to sing in the studio, and the album is really good.
Well, she has an open invite on my show anytime she wants to come on.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. There's a band out there with an album called Birds Contending. The album, the the band, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Zhaoze.
Well, ZH is J.
J. Okay.
So we'll say Jen.
Zhaoze. Oze.
Oze. Okay, it's Jazal.
Jazal. Okay. Great album. Love to get them on the show. Progressive rock. There's not many progressive rock bands in China, I don't think.
No.
I couldn't find too many of them.
Well, if you go around like where I used to live in a city called Xiamen,
right,
which is where all the music conservatories are. The island of Gulongyu basically has a keyboard that goes all the way around the island. There's no cars allowed. It's just a road, but it's a keyboard, and that's where they make some pianos and stuff. And all the music conservatories are there. A lot of musicians go there to study, but along the ocean there, before that island, there's a ocean walk and full of bars. There's a country western bar.
Yeah.
There's Chinese kids in there playing country western music.
Yep.
There's a jazz bar, and they're playing everything from 1920s Shanghai jazz to a very horrible fusion.
Horrible fusion.
And I met my wife playing at a jazz festival.
Really?
Yeah, she was working with a Chinese piano company, and they were sponsoring the festival with a famous Chinese band called Guoqi. It's apple pie in English, right? So that was the name of the band. And I came up as a guest and played on the last couple songs and soloed and sang. And her company put on the show, and that's how I met her. And she's a fantastic piano player and singer. And now she's here teaching. Got 38 Chinese students here. Yeah.
Really? Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you have a very beautiful wife, and you can tell her that.
Oh, I know she is. She is beautiful. I don't know why she's with me, but except, I can be funny.
Is that what it is?
I think it's
do you speak Chinese or Cantonese or?
You would say you'd call it people's language.
Okay.
There's many different languages.
Exactly. Yeah.
Putonghua is the people's language, which is, you would know it as Mandarin. So
Mandarin. Right.
Mandarin. My wife speaks Mandarin, but then she's from Langzhou, Gansu, so she speaks Langzhouhua, which I can't understand her mother at all.
Wow.
And we lived in a city called Xiamen, which spoke Minanhua, which I couldn't understand and she couldn't understand. So, people would learn Putonghua. Putonghua is the language that's on the television and the radio.
Okay.
That's Mao's language. He wanted everybody to know that language. So most people understand it. They might not speak it, but they can understand it.
That's amazing that there's so many different dialects, 80. Wow.
You could go down south in China.
Yeah.
And you could go like in the Yunnan province, and because it's very mountainous.
Yeah.
And you go from one little sector to another, and they speak a totally different language. The Fu people, the Wu people, the Qi people, all of them, they all speak different.
Yeah.
The emperor was so smart. He said, "This is how you write horse. I don't care how you say it, but that's how you write it."
Yeah.
So they could write to each other, but they couldn't speak to each other.
Well, that's the other thing. Writing is like an art. It's amazing. I don't see how they do it. It's like way above my head, man.
We teach by there's a process called pinyin.
Pinyin,
which,
right?
It's the transformation of English to Chinese,
right?
But without the diphthong, the signal, you can really get yourself in trouble. Oh man, can you get yourself in trouble?
Can you write it all in Chinese?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I would do everything pinyin in English on the phone. Because the young people really like pinyin rather than doing, their kanji.
Right. Here's a funny story. My dad's, he had retail electronics stores since the late 50s. And I grew up since I was 6 years old working at a store. The name of the store was Chin Long Art Gallery, and it was not an art gallery.
Chin Long.
Chin Long art gallery. I wrote a book about it. It was so crazy, it's such a funny. I should send you the book. You'll get a kick out of it. Chin Long art gallery.
Like, and she's got as many chins as the Hong Kong.
That's funny. I think the last time we talked, you had some electric car stock from China, right?
I sort of got rid of it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I still have mine.
It's going in a different kind of direction now. I mean,
it is. I'm upset.
It's going in a different direction. I'm totally out of stocks. Actually, I'm done with it. It all gets to be manipulated. And,
it does. You're right.
Where I didn't do bad with it, I didn't do great with it.
Right.
It's just too aggravating to try to keep track of it.
I agree.
And some of it was a Chinese stock market, which is total racket.
Yeah.
I mean, our stock market is a racket. The Chinese stock market is a total racket.
Yeah, I still got Neo. And Neo is supposed to be doubling, tripling. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's going the other direction, like you said. But
my partner in one of my businesses has got, he's done well with the Tesla.
Yeah,
he's done really great with Lucid.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I say good luck with it, man. But then as he's got all this stuff happening with this, all these other ones like crash down to the ground, and no, I'm done with it.
I know. I asked you this question before. I'm going to ask you again since we're on Zoom. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be? And you've been with everybody, so it's going to be hard for you.
Actually, I don't know if you ever saw my tribute to John Lennon.
Yes, last time we chatted. Yeah, we talked about it. It was excellent.
That really hit a lot of people, important people, and they said, "Hey, man, I'm going to reach out to see if we can do something with that." I still stand by that work, and I would love to do anything like with McCartney.
Okay.
I'd like to, a lot of people, they poo-poo on Sir Paul, because he's, he could be very, very vital and very heavy and in very silly love songs. He could be a big vision in what he does, but he does have such a gift, and that would be an honor. But I think I met him and played on a show with him years ago, 1992, and but the only person I did something for, and she reciprocated, was Joni Mitchell.
Okay.
I did this thing where I played Kurzweil on all my Wolfman Jack shows for years and gave them rolling credits. At the end of the show, they sent me a white grand piano. And I had all the keys signed on it, and I sent them all over the world, and everybody signed the keys. Joni Mitchell signed a key, and she called me. She wanted to know what it was for. And I was so honored, that I'd gotten a call. Before she committed to sign her name, she wanted to know exactly what was going on with this.
Sure.
And I told her. And, I just told her how much I appreciated her and the whole bit. And she seemed to be a little bit moved. I said, my sister, my sister turned you on to me when I was a hard rocker. And it, totally, blew my hat off, at the time. I think it was Blue or For the Roses or something like that. And I totally fell in love with a different thing. And it's like, one of my favorite records is Travelogue by Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Vince Mendoza. Yep. Wow. Fantastic. Joni Mitchell, Paul McCartney, I don't know. I think that's everybody else. There's other people you'd like to work with, eclectic people that nobody knows that you think were worth something, like Howard Hanson or, newer guys, I think like maybe Beck. I think he's interesting.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't know. I'm lost in my own little prog rock classical fusion jazz world. I got a list of projects I want to do, bucket list things. I'm working on them.
Okay. Well, talk about some of them. What, Hands 2, we know that about that one. What else?
There's a couple other John things that are back in the closet that, he's talking about chapter 3 and the whole bit.
Right.
It all depends on, his, involvement and, how far he wants to take and everything. I'm there with him. I love doing
Yep.
it. Um, because I like bringing all these people together. So, I mean, it can go on as far as, we go on, I guess.
Yeah.
I got a little girl that I recorded here a little while ago that I'm really, really hot on. She's 10 years old. She's a savant.
Wow.
And she came in last Christmas, and I got a call from my wife's a piano company that she sends people to check out pianos.
Right.
And he said, Michael, I've got this young little piano player that wants to come in the studio and do a Christmas song. I said, Bill, come on. I mean, I'm gonna tune up the Bosendorfer, and no, believe me, trust me. Okay. She came in. I had the piano all set up and everything. She sat down and played 20 Christmas songs in 1 hour.
In 1 hour, jeez.
and at the end of each song, she stopped, like pause. Then she'd play the next one. And it was like not a young kid playing the piano. It was like a 50-year-old guy playing with tears in his eyes.
It's amazing.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it was at the time when I had just communicated with Chick, and I had sent Chick the CD and LP for 1,000 Hands.
Mm-hmm.
Chick's on 1,000. He's on chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Right. And
I had sent him the thing, and I was trying to make a plan to go over to see him in Clearwater.
Yeah.
But not to. I don't know. I sort of sensed something that was not right. Whatever. It's no, can't. Don't have any time. But whatever. And anyway, I was just thinking about it. If the little girl, what could I do with her? If I do some obscure classical music, it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is her mom is from the same town me and Nana lived in China.
Really?
So there was like immediately we had a connection. And then two, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and she was a professor and she taught in Buffalo, New York. So we had these two pieces of synergy. So we became great friends. They invited us to come over to Chinese New Year's dinner with them. Mm-hmm. And her husband's a chef, has a Chinese restaurant. So we went over and had a great Chinese dinner, and little Abigail couldn't wait for me to get there so she could play the piano. So she played the piano, and she'll say stuff like, "I love you, Mike Franklin." Mike Franklin, you're so fat. No filter whatsoever. So she says, "Let's jam." So she started playing something, and I would go over to the keyboard and start to jam. Then I started playing like Pachelbel's, whatever, and she heard it and she started playing it.
Oh my gosh!
Like Toccata and Fugue in D minor, and she took it, and then and we would jam back and forth. She's got like 400 classical songs.
Unbelievable. In
her hard drive.
Wow.
So it was bothering me. And on the way home from that dinner, I said, "Oh my God, she should record Chick Corea's children's songs."
Yeah.
So I did. I got her the CD. Mm-hmm. I went over there about a week later, and she's played all of them for me at one sitting.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That stuff is crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, how are you going to memorize that?
Yeah. And they say there's no God, eh?
So I had her come in the studio, and she recorded the Chick Corea's children's songs album. And it'll be out in I hope by Chick's birthday on February 9th.
Incredible.
Really, really good, man. I sat by the piano with the headphones.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I was verklempt.
Yeah.
Because I'm listening to her play this stuff, and I'm an older, I've studied that stuff. I can play one or two of them, but to memorize all 20 of them and sit down and do it in a sitting.
Did she take, classical lessons since she was a kid, or not really?
Well, she's had lessons, but she's 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife is a piano teacher. My wife doesn't teach her, but she's gifted. So her mother got got her with some professional teachers.
Yeah.
But she can play anything, she can read anything, but the thing to memorize that stuff.
Unbelievable.
I'll send you a copy. It's funny because my idea of it is I wanted to affect it a little bit. I didn't want it to be like in a piano recital setting.
Yeah.
Right.
You can feature on the show. Anybody you have, we can feature on the show. I'll be more than happy to promote them.
So what I did is I put a little bit of effects on the piano. So that, and then the next week I went to see Hornsby.
Okay.
And Bruce was playing, and he had a effect pedal.
Yeah.
On the piano. It was just a piano, and he had a synth doing like I can't remember what he's using on it, but it would be the thing where he could play and have a little bit of a chorus to what he was playing on the piano. And it's exactly what I did to Abigail's record. And it just has this really beautiful sound to it.
Love to hear it. I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of believe in reincarnation. It's possible, that they had these skills in another life. And,
I don't know. That one just sort of really I've heard so many great musicians. Yeah. I have some really great players in here that they can pull stuff out of a hat and just make you go, wow, I'm so glad I know you,
Right.
But that is at 10 years old to know all that is frightening. It
is frightening. Who I love a lot that I wish he'd do a lot more, and sometimes I think he's underrated, is Patrick Moraz. I mean, my favorite Yes album is Relayer,
Well, funny you should say that. So that's the thing is, I have proposed doing something with Patrick.
Good.
And
he deserves it.
And the thing is that, I can't broadcast it too much because, and I proposed it to him, and the window to do it is starting to close because I have a movie to do and I've got a TV series to do, and plus these other albums. So as far as
is that all?
time, so my template of time is, but no, my brain needs food, man. I'm a type A. I don't have to do that much coffee.
Yeah, I do.
but I need to do projects.
Yeah.
I was just talking on the phone to Jocelyn. I want to do a project for her. I have a new album coming out this month with a girl that I produced a couple years ago and just sort of finished the record. She's sort of like a Melissa Etheridge kind of rocker. Liberty DeVito's on it.
Okay.
Charlie DeChant's on it.
Awesome.
Really, really great record. I'll be happy to send that one to you.
Sure.
So, we have tons of projects that are coming out on the label.
Okay.
My label is going to, by the end of the year, I'll have maybe 25 products on our label.
Good.
And it's all geared towards this classic rock, physical product, kind of thing.
Okay.
Robby didn't want to stream.
Right.
I don't like to stream.
Okay.
4,000 streams is the sale of one CD. And for the people my age, I don't care. I don't want any twerking. So, no twerking on my records.
Okay.
So.
Here's a project for you.
What's that?
Get all the Beatles kids together to form a band.
That would be
why not?
Yeah.
Right? They're all musicians, man, and they're all good,
I just don't know. I just don't know if they could possibly work together. I just don't know.
I think so.
You'd think that, they would be friends, really great friends. Their fathers are such legends, but I don't know. I've never heard anything except from Julian that I thought was really good.
Yeah, Julian's incredible.
Julian's stuff was, but he had a good producer and stuff like that. So, coming through many different hands to get to be a product. But McCartney's son, and I haven't heard anything from Danny, but I have heard some stuff from Sean, and it's
Zach. Zach's a good drummer.
Oh no, he's a fantastic drummer.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be a challenge.
It would be a challenge. And if anybody could do it, it'd be you.
I don't know. I don't think that's something that could possibly get together. That would be so much politics to get that together. That's like how many kids? It'd be how many lawyers? How many agents? It'd be like a yes thing.
Yeah, that's a mess, isn't it? The yes thing is a mess. I've had Julian on the show. Julian's a nice guy. I love his solo stuff. It's
Oh yeah, I do too.
But you would think his albums, his last album, he had Steven Tyler on it. It was an excellent album, but it didn't. I don't think it did great. Great numbers, and it's a shame. It really is.
What do you think? So I mean, I'm trying to be as non-political on your show as I can. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I don't really care if people buy my shit or not. Really don't. I'm going to do my art, and my politics is I don't try to hide it.
Right.
Why wouldn't Julian or any of the Beatles kids sort of try to do something Beatlish?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people trying to, what do people want from them?
Right.
It's like, what do people want from John or the guys? They want to hear what they want to hear from them.
Sure.
They want the satisfaction of it.
Yeah.
And when the artist doesn't give it to them, or come out with something that's far from what they want, then they poo-poo on it. It's almost like you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of backlash on 1,000 Hands. You wouldn't think so, but I mean, I thought I was going in the right direction. It was proggy, rocky, worldy, jazzy enough, to be. But people would send me emails and messages. And so I'm turning John into a world jazz pussy. That kind of stuff. It's like, really.
No.
There's a whole faction of people that they want to hear a B3 with percussion on it.
Yeah.
In odd time with a raving guitar thing over it.
Yeah.
It's got to progress more than that. To be progressive,
right? It's
got to progress.
Sure.
And some people don't want it to progress.
I love progress. Sean Lennon did Tomorrow Never Knows. He does it in his show. And he does Court of the Crimson King. He does a lot of cover tunes, but he's not a bad musician. But you're right, Julian's probably the most talented, I think, of the group.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just like from any of those people, I just sort of you'd feel like them or their fans, unless they came out with something that was just so stark, refreshing that it could be their own.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen it. I mean, the best thing to come out so far has been Julian stuff.
But, it is a shame that they don't get together because it's amazing how the Beatles' popularity after all these years, people still talk about them. It's crazy.
This is the year of the Beatles. I mean, the show that I'm putting together with Joey, Badfinger 50 Stories and Songs.
Yeah. We
did the first couple shows and, the response to it, because people want to be there. They want to experience that Beatle thing. There's Joey who's, he'd tell you stories about, George Harrison saying, oh, he said, the song, you do the song, you're going to make money. You're going to get the birds. You're going to do this. You're going to do that.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have to play that song every night for the rest of your life. Those kind of stories.
Yeah.
The truism.
Yeah. I had Peter Asher on recently with Kate Taylor, James Taylor's sister. Kate's got a new album out. And it's funny because before that I had Livingston Taylor on. I got everybody on except James, the whole family. But Peter he's doing what you're doing. He's, the producer of her album. And I had them both on the show and he would talk about the album and just like you are with Robby, which was really, really cool. But, of course, Peter's got some great stories about the Beatles.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Do you know Peter? Do you know Peter Asher?
No, I've never met him.
Really?
No, I've never met him. Always respected the Peter and Gordon thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in my garage when I was first starting out, I think Please lock me away.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of the first songs I ever played on the guitar.
Huh. Nice guy. Really, really nice guy.
Peter and Gordon and Chad and Jeremy were.
Chad and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Remember Chad and Jeremy on the Dick Van Dyke Show? You ever see that?
Yep.
Michael, you have anything else you need to promote or anything? I want you to consider me seriously, like as an open book. If you want to bring any of your artists on my show, you're more than welcome. Okay, we'll promote the hell out of them.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the rest of this month promoting Not in Kansas Anymore.
Okay,
and that should culminate with the first video coming out.
Okay, good.
And then I'm going to start. I'm going to have to move on to promoting the new albums that are going to go on the label. Good. So I already have 12 new products that'll come up once every month. Some of them are being finished. Some of them really need. I'm really into the concept of the album cover, and everything is sort of have to have a concept. It's not just a hodgepodge of 10 songs. That doesn't make any sense to me.
By the way, on your Facebook page, you're doing something with a red shoe. You're putting. Is that from the album cover or what?
Yeah, it's actually from the album cover. I mean, it should show you. It goes down to where the ruby slippers on Robbie's feet.
Ruby slippers, yeah.
So what it was the artist Tom Lupo, who did the album cover.
Love the album cover.
Yeah, I sort of came up with the concept, and then Tom did all his different things to it, and then that's what we finally came up with. The red slippers, he went all over the internet looking for Dorothy's dress, and then he found Dorothy's dress, and he photoshopped out of it in different parts.
Right.
And I've got all Robbie in green screen here on my back porch with the violin in his hand, the back on the back cover, but we needed the shoes. And as much as he could have just done something, I found a pair of shoes and said, okay, use these shoes. And then so I was on the back porch.
That's
and
funny.
just fun. Yeah, whatever.
That was funny.
It's like when I used to teach a producer's course at Full Sail, it used to be like producing from soup to nuts.
Yeah.
All different kind of people that I produced.
Yeah.
And what your role was, whether it was with Melanie, like helping write the songs and coming up with the concept, doing everything except brushing the artist's teeth. Or like somebody with Patrick, you'd come up with the concept and then, they do it and then you sort of help them sift through what it is to help them culminate it, right?
Yeah.
The whole bit.
Yeah.
And so I never thought I'd be, putting dust on shoes.
The other thing you could do what Ringo's doing with the All-Star Band and do a tour and get all your friends together and do one of those things.
Thinking about that, well, it's really sad because, man, the first 2 or 3 songs for the tour were done. We opened up with, what's the name of the Kansas song? One for, I can't remember what it is. A really, really crazy, odd time, up-tempo song, a Kansas tune. We opened up with it that went into Truth to Power.
Okay.
And it was just so cool. And then after that, we went into, it went from that song into Point of No Return into Truth to Power.
Okay.
That was the opening of the show.
Right.
It was so good. And we rehearsed it, and then all that happened.
Yeah.
And it didn't videotape any of it.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Kansas will be here in Sarasota this month, I believe, the 28th or something.
Yeah, they'll be here in Orlando.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any connection with any of those guys. The keyboard player, Tom, is a good friend of a bunch of my friends. I mean, everybody's saying, you don't know Tom? No, I've never met him. I can't believe you and Tom never met,
Yeah.
Because he played in Yes.
Right.
And now he's in Kansas, and I played with every Yes member. I worked with every Yes member. Plus, then, I worked with Steve Walsh.
Yeah.
And I worked with Robbie.
Yeah.
So
I interviewed the drummer, Rick Earhart. And I met Oh man, my mind is going. The guitar player. I met him after a Kansas show. They were playing in St. Pete outside, like a little festival. Rick, right?
I think
Rich Williams.
Rich Williams.
Rich. Yeah. I met Rich. Yeah, after a show. Another nice guy. Anyway, I want to say special thanks today to the great Billy James, Glass Onion PR, for arranging this interview.
Not my man. I want to say thank you to Billy James too.
Good guy.
I love that guy. Love me some Billy James.
I've known Billy now for, I don't know, 10, 11 years. He's right on, man. He's awesome. You can purchase Not in Kansas Anymore, the Prog Opera by Robby Steinhardt, produced by Michael Franklin. It's available now at, should we say, www.solarmusic.com. And it's also on Amazon, correct? Or not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But just go to either RobbySteinhardtOfficial.com or solarmusic.com, and that gets right to me and Robbie.
Good.
Yeah.
That'll be easy.
No waxy buildup.
Okay, cool. And more information, you can go to Robby Steinhardt's official Facebook page, Michael Franklin, www.michaelfranklin.com. You also have www.conventionmusic.com and also solarmusic.com. And you're also on Facebook as well.
Yeah, you got to be everywhere.
You got to be everywhere. Michael, thank you, man, for being on the show today. Always great to talk to you. Keep those artists coming, man, so we can promote great music, very important.
Thanks keeping up with the rock, Ray.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Okay. Forever.
It was great to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Good to talk to you too, man.
Okay. All right.
All right. Take care, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.